Welcome to the Light of Sirio podcast. My name is Dori Fari and I will speak with a realized spiritual master about his views on life and the topic of spirituality. So now we arrived to the second episode of the second season of this podcast, and we said to continue the argument that we began the last time with Master Sirio about the master souls. So just to refresh our memories about this part, I read again the quote from Master Kirpa's book The Crown of Life, which was in question. So in the meantime, I just closed the book. I quickly opened that part. So, the inner man, the soul in man, has to rise above body consciousness before it can traverse into higher consciousness or the consciousness of the cosmos and of the beyond. All this and more becomes possible through the Surat Shabd Yoga, or the union of self in man, Surat or consciousness, with the Shabad or sound principle, through the grace of some master soul. So we have right away our first question, this questions and answers episode. Who are the master souls and what's their role on the spiritual path?
So, who are the master souls? Master souls are those who have become masters. And how they became masters, that's the important thing. There are masters of many skills. So what is the difference in any skill between a master and somebody learning the skill? Somebody learning the skill is beginning to learn, to understand what the skill is all about. The master is the one who has mastered the skill, knows it very well, and knows how to apply it to any given situation, to anything he does in that field. Like a carpenter. Carpenter can make a door, can make a furniture, can make a window, can make a bench, a sofa, anything. So according to the object that is creating, he will apply his skills in different ways. A mechanic, an electrician, a musician, an artist. The one who is master in all these skills is the one who has applied these skills in his life, means practiced the skill for many, many years, and he has become so competent that in any given situation, in any aspect of the skill, he will be able to find the way to proceed and to complete the work. Mm-hmm. So, a master soul, a master of the spirit, a master that can lead us from the human to the divine, that can help us experience something that goes beyond the physical perception into the spiritual perception, which it is what is beyond body, senses and mind. Who is this person? He's a person who has dedicated so many years, a good part of his life or her life, in this endeavor, in this quest, in this practice, and consequently, since he must have done an intense practice in that field, has become competent to face any situation, to apply these teachings to any possible different person, to anybody, and be able to be effective, to get out something of anybody. So it will be able, first of all, to present the teachings in a very, let's say, skilled way, in a very attractive way, in a very clear way, because he knows the topic very well. He has been applying this skill, this job, let's say, in his life for so many years, and he knows very well. Moreover, he has also spent a lot of time with his master, because a master becomes a master by learning from another master. Master Kirpal used to say, if you want to switch on a candle, you don't switch it on just by putting it in the space or in the air. You have to get it close to another lighted candle. This is an example. There can be many others of this kind. But anyway, if you want to learn something, if you want to be competent in something, you have to learn it from somebody who knows it. So a master, first of all, he has learned the skill from another master by spending lots of time with this master, by listening to the teachings of this master, and then applying it in his or her life.
Well, while I was listening to you, came into my mind, we have a proverb in Hungarian, because I'm from Hungary, from Budapest, and we say, practice makes the master. So this is the first thing, but then after listening to you, then eventually not only the practice makes the master, but also the master makes the master.
That's right. That's the most important thing, because the practice again without the master is not as effective. Means you may learn a skill by yourself, just doing it by yourself, trying to learn by yourself. You want to be a carpenter, you begin buying some wood, tools, and begin practicing by yourself. You will make so many mistakes. You will make so many wrong things which you will have to repair and change and redo again. But if you go and study with a carpenter, with an expert carpenter, then you won't make any mistakes or very few mistakes, because he will tell you the way to do it, how to do it. He will show you how to do it. So it becomes so much easier. And especially on the spiritual path, we need so much the guidance of a living master, because it's something that is not physical, it's not mental, it's not sensory. It is something which we don't know anything about, which is immaterial. So that's much more important. The guidance, help, protection of a living master.
Well, here I right away have two questions to add, because in this quote which I just read and we're discussing about, here it says the inner man, the soul in man. So I was just thinking, okay, you gave the example of the carpenter, but that's a very exact. We can imagine all of us how a carpenter works, and then comes the master, shows no, hold the tools in a different way, bang like that, shape like that. But if we talk about the inner man, the soul in man, then it's a very interesting something how the master's soul makes it possible through his grace for the people to experience this. And also another thing that you mentioned, the living master, just appealed to me. Another quote from the same book, from The Crown of Life of Master Kirpal, which I marked for myself. So at this point I would like to read it. The aspirant who seeks inner spiritual mastery must seek the aid of one who has already mastered the way. All his readings of scriptures, all his thinking can at best lead to a single conclusion, provided he is sensitive to the point involved, the need for a living master. Because first I asked you, who are the master souls? Then you also did mention the living master, and that the master becomes a master learning from his or her master. So, practice makes the master, master makes the master. Then, what's the difference? The real practical difference in between a living master and the masters of the past, who are all both master souls, but still, what's the difference then?
The difference between a living master and a master of the past, it's so big that there is no way to describe it. It's like you want to have a child. Centuries ago lived a very beautiful man, became very famous for his beauty, for how many women fell in love with him or whatever, and you fall in love with that man. But you want to have a child. How can you have a child with that man? You want to experience what is the relation, the close relation with a person you cannot have with that man who lived centuries ago. You need a man of this time. You need a man of this time in order to have a child, or you need a woman of this time in order to have a child. This is an example. It can be so many. Anyway, as I said, light comes from light. Life comes from life. So, the life impulse, or the spiritual impulse, which is a spiritual transmission, doesn't come from somebody who lived centuries ago. It comes from somebody who is alive, to whom you can go, look into his face, look into his eyes, enter into his aura, and there you experience something which you can never experience by reading books, by having faith in somebody who lived even 10 years ago, but is not here anymore. So, in my case, for instance, when I had my first spiritual awakening, then for 1 year I practiced so intensely yoga, meditation, in order to bring back that experience. I can say that I never succeeded to bring back exactly that experience. Sometimes I had something close to that. I had something which was subtle, which was also powerful, almost taking me there, but never reaching there, quite reaching there. Eventually, I traveled to India just for this purpose, trying to find somebody who would help me get back that kind of experience, with that intensity, with that clarity. And when I met Master Kirpal, I didn't get back that experience only, but I got back that experience multiplied by 10. So there I really understood by my personal experience how important it is the company of a living master, how important it is to be face to face with a living master, to enter into his aura. If you are receptive when you come to a living master, it's a big explosion. That's what happens if you are receptive and if you're ready for it. Like Sanjay used to say, when a seeker goes to a living master, if he is ready, then he's going is like bringing fire near to gunpowder. If the person is not ready and it's like gunpowder, wet gunpowder, then it will take time to dry it, and eventually it will also explode. So what is the help? What is the grace? What is the effect of associating with a living master? If you are a wet gunpowder is like exposing yourself to the sun. And the sun, what does it do when you're wet? It makes you dry. So this gunpowder that we are, if it's wet, eventually by exposing ourselves to the presence, to the company of a living master, listening to his satsang, looking to his face, looking to his eyes, and sing the praises of God and doing the meditation and spiritual practice together with this master, it will make your gunpowder dry, and eventually you will also explode.
So again, I have two questions. That in this first quote, it's written, to rise above body consciousness, to traverse into higher consciousness, or to the consciousness of the cosmos and of the beyond, through Surabhishek Yoga, through the grace of some master soul. So, does it mean the grace of the master soul? Because you describe like an explosion, like a spiritual experience. So, what is exactly the grace of the master soul to give you the spiritual experience by raising you above the body consciousness to the consciousness of the beyond? And how does it work? What does it exactly mean through the grace of the master soul?
The grace of the master soul is what radiates from the master. If you are receptive again, that's very important. Receptivity is very important. In spiritual experience, in the spiritual field, it's not important the reading, it's not important the doctrine, it's not important the theology. What is important is receptivity. Because here it's a spiritual transmission, which happens if you are receptive. If you are not receptive, you have to develop receptivity and do practices so that you are able to develop it. It's a skill. It's a quality that you have to develop by doing certain things. But if by the grace of God, because maybe, or not by maybe, just because you have been doing this practice already in a previous lifetime, and you come in this world ready for spiritual realization, because you already had this spiritual realization, you know very well this skill. It's forgotten, but the impressions are deeply seated inside of you. And as soon as you find yourself in an appropriate situation, in a stimulating situation of that kind, then all this baggage of yours comes back right away. So that's how it was for me. When I found myself in the presence of Master Kirpal, all this which I had done previously, it came back to me right away. And what it was that provoked this awakening inside of me, this upliftment, it was the aura which was around the Master.
So the grace of the Master.
That's the grace of the Master, which comes through the atmosphere which is around him. So when I went to see Master Kirpal, I began perceiving his aura when I was already in Dehradun, which was far from Manav Kendra, some 15 kilometers.
Yes, I remember you described it like dome of light above.
When I reach Subhash Nagar, the area, then I saw this dome of light covering up the whole area, up in the sky. I look up and I saw this dome of light covering up the whole area.
Amazing.
So to my perception, this aura of the Master, it was so huge, it was so wide, that I began perceiving it already many kilometers far from it. And the closer I got to it, the more intense it became. And when I reached the ashram and finally saw the Master, I felt like being in heaven and being in the presence of God. So why this happened to me, and why this didn't happen to so many who went to see Master Kirpal and after having a long interview with him went away and never came back? What was the difference between me and these people? These people were not receptive to the Master power. They were not receptive to his aura. They will have to work and go through so many experiences in order to develop this receptivity. I had it already. It was in my baggage. So I came back right away And right away I tuned in with the master, and this spiritual transmission could happen spontaneously. The master grace, the master blessing could flow through me naturally, suddenly, immediately, because I was ready for it.
So if we want to very, very much simplify it, I know that it's much more complex, but just to simplify it. So the spiritual practice of Surya Shabd Yoga is meant to develop receptivity, and then through the grace of the master we can receive the spiritual experience that raises us above the body consciousness. So is it like this, that with the practice we develop the receptivity, and then like opening the gates to, or the windows, to let the grace inside? Is it like this, if we want to simplify it?
Yes, it is like this.
And some people already arrive into this world with open windows.
Yes, very rarely some people arrive in this world with open windows. Most of the people, they have to learn how to open the window and slowly open it. Moreover, there is another aspect to this. Yes, we are not receptive. We have to develop receptivity, and the practice of Surya Shabd Yoga is meant for this. All those aspects of the practice are meant for this. And some aspects of this practice are more fit for some people. Some other aspects of it are more fit for some other people, because this practice has several aspects and several methods, let's say, instruments.
And do they equivalent with each other? Are they equivalent with each other?
They are all effective, but some of them are more effective with certain kind of people, and some other with some other kind of people. Anyway, there is more to this. Just receptivity is one aspect, but there is also this ability to welcome inside of you this master power. Means get ready to welcome this master power inside of you without being shocked by it, because it's a very strong and powerful current, and you have to be able to welcome it in an harmonious way, not to be shocked by it. It's like going close to fire. If you just go close to fire and jump into it, you burn yourself and you're finished. But if you stay a little far and begin absorbing the warmth, then you can get even closer and you will not be burnt. So also the spiritual practice is meant for this purpose, to make us ready to welcome inside of us this incredible powerful energy without being burned by it, without being shocked by it. And in this field also, the help of the living master is very needed, because he will understand and he will know where we stand. And he will get us close to it by and by, without making mistakes. Because if we go by ourselves on the spiritual path, we may meet such perils, such experiences that will just shock us, and then we will just withdraw and never do it again, because we will be afraid of it.
Well, yes, I just wanted to ask then, we simple people, how could we know how to walk or how to treat gradually the path? But then, so here comes again, this is not only the spiritual experience, is the grace of the master, but also this kind of spiritual protection is part of this grace.
Yes, the spiritual protection, and learn how to do it gradually and in the way which is appropriate for you. If you do it without a master, you may do it in the wrong way and get yourself into such an experience which will be so shocking that you will try to forget it for the rest of your life and never do it. But in the company of a master, I've seen over and over again that the experience always comes in a harmonious way, in a way that you can welcome it, make it your own, enjoy it, and grow through it and raise above. So that's what I've been seeing through these many years in which I associated with my master. It doesn't mean that some people may not go through some period which may be difficult in order to get into this process, in order to welcome this powerful experience. But it will be always in such a way that you can handle it and you can absorb it in a healthy, harmonious way.
And the question, and I said before that I had two questions. The other one which I wanted to ask, through the grace of some master soul, and before we talked about the living master and the masters of the past, and now we talked about the grace of the master, but can we still receive the grace from the past master, or is it only possible through the living master?
Well, there are cases of people who have a special affinity with some master of the past. So, when they find themselves maybe in the place where that master lived, or where there is his tomb, her tomb, they may tune in with that holy presence. Because in the place where a master soul, where a realized master has been living, a holy saint has been living, even after they leave the body, there is always an aura of blessing, an aura present in the old place. And if you are receptive again, then you may go in that space and tune in with that presence. But then you must be receptive. Otherwise, you go to such a place and you will feel some serenity, some peace. Like when you go in any holy place of worship, where people go to pray and meditate. In any of these places, you will feel some peace, you will feel some serenity, you will feel good. So also in that place, you may just feel good. But if you are very receptive, then in that place you may really tune in with that holy presence and have a powerful inner experience. I've had this kind of experience in several places where masters of the past lived, like especially the masters who are part of this so-called parampara, means this lineage of my masters. I've been in Babaji Masin's place, Swamiji's place. I've been in Baba Sawan Singh's place and Master Kirpal's place after he left the body. But in all these places, I have had incredible experiences because these are the masters of the lineage to which I belong. And I am synchronized and tuned in with their energy. So whenever I go to these places, I'm just so uplifted, and I tune in with their spirit, with their energy, with their holy presence.
Well, it's very beautiful to imagine, as you said, Master Kirpal giving this example, to light a candle with another candle from another candle, and then it's like a long line of candles and one getting the light from the other, and then it's like somehow always the same light. It's very beautiful, as you said.
Different candles, but it's always the same light.
Yes, it's very beautiful. And actually, my question was mainly about the spiritual protection that the master soul can give to the people, to the aspirant seekers. And here I would like to also read two questions which are very similar to each other, which came, both of them, from England, one again from Sarah. And it goes like this: do those you love benefit from the master's protection? And the other question from Bernadette goes like this: please tell us if the master's protection also is for our families or just for each individual satsangi.
All this depends on how much you tune in with the Master's grace, the Master's blessing, how much you are uplifted when you come in touch with the Master. According to the intensity of your experience, you will get like around you, around your person, deep inside of you a light, an energy, a blessing that will be contagious, will just be contagious. And not just the family, people of your family will benefit from it, even if they are not aware, even if they may be against what you're doing because they don't understand it. But yet, this blessing which is inside of you, this light which is inside of you will be contagious, and they will be anyway benefited, even if they are not aware of it, even if they don't like it. But also your friends, also the people in your neighborhood, they will also be blessed in a certain degree according to how much of this you have inside of you. So you can see in a place where a very holy man has been living and giving out his teachings, his satsang, his blessings, for centuries afterwards, there will be an aura of blessing all around the place. And people of that place that live in that area, they will be unawareingly be benefited. And I've seen so many of these cases, so many people coming on the path and take initiation, and according to the intensity of the experience they had, they were capable of affecting the life of people around them, family members, friends, neighbors, people meeting them anywhere, in any way. I can talk again because we know better our own experience. I was initiated, and my family before this had no really spiritual inclination whatsoever, except for my mother. She was always a great devotee of God. But my father had no spiritual inclination. He was a very good man, a very hard-working man, very honest, but he had no spiritual inclination. He didn't feel the need for any God. And he didn't even feel the need to think about God because his mind was very busy working, making the living for a family of 7 people. And when I took initiation, through this incredible blessing that I got from Master Kirpal and through this aura which entered inside of me and changed my behavior, my lifestyle, my psyche, and what radiated from me, from my face, from my eyes, this was so effective that it really changed the life of so many people. In my family, after I came back, my brother took initiation, then my mother took initiation, my sister took initiation. They became spiritual people. And even my other brothers who didn't come on this path, one became, from atheist, became a very religious person, and the other one, who was almost an alcoholist, changed completely his lifestyle, and he gave up alcohol and everything, and he became a very good man. Practice and bit of his religion in which he believed, which is Christianity, of course. So, apart from this, from the family, all the friends I had before I went to India and met Master Kirpal, many of them really changed their life. They came on the path, took initiation, and they really went on a spiritual quest, very intense, and they really became very good people, while before they were not so good people. So, how does the Master's grace affect also our family members? Yes, very much, according to how intensely we come on the path and how intensely we are transformed. And but even if our transformation, our experience will be little, a few, even in that case, they will be blessed accordingly, because something is there. It's a seed that begins growing, and it begins giving fruits eventually. So, according to the example that we set, the change that people see in us, they will also benefit, because there is no better teaching than a living example.
Oh wow, that's very nice. Yes, and just came into my mind a story which I heard some times ago from you, but I don't exactly remember that somehow what we people think about what's the protection of the master, what's the grace of the master. So somehow we expect that then, from then on, everything will go, we take initiation from the master and everything will change in our life, everything will be very good, we become very spiritual, our life changes for the good, and no bad things do happen to us. But just came this story into my mind. I would like to ask you to please tell to the others as well, what can it mean, the protection, the guidance of the master, of a living master? That the story is that when there are two devotees, disciples of a master, and they decide to go for satsang, and they are neighbors, I think, and then they start off to go for satsang together. And then one of them finds a treasure on the way, and the other one gets injured. And then they go to ask the master, how come that we are the same devoted, we do the same distance, we live beside each other, we do the practice together, and then we do the same distance to come for satsang, and then he is blessed to find the treasure, and I am like cursed to be injured, so how come?
Well, there are many aspects of this story. There are many ways in which this story has been told. But again, what is the Master's grace? What is the Master's blessing? That it reduces anything into a bearable way, into an harmonious way, which is going to be helpful and not harmful. So let's say, Master Kipal used to say, the Master's grace is such that it will reduce sentence to death into hurting yourself a little bit. So in this case, the person who hurt himself, he could have maybe died. But it was reduced so much that he was just hurting himself a little bit. The other person, if he had gotten so much more gold, which maybe was meant to happen, he would have just left the spiritual path, forgotten everything about, become a very worldly man and spoil his life and become very corrupt. But he was reduced to just find a bit of gold, so that it would just help his life to go better. Mm-hmm. So how does the Master blessing and grace work? It works in such a way that whatever happens in your life is going to be like a helping factor and not a harmful factor, something that is going to spoil your life. So, whichever be the case, we get something pleasant or we get something painful, whatever it is meant for our growth, it is meant for our betterment. So the Master's grace works in this way, that once you come in the Master Aura and you take initiation, whatever is going to happen from then on in your life, it's meant to be a helping factor for your growth. Well, whether it is sorrow or it is joy, mm-hmm. whether it is dukh or it is sukh.
Yes. So we have to welcome everything, because as we came on the spiritual path and we step into the aura of the Master, take the initiation, then if we are devoted to the Master, everything arrives from the Master for our higher good. This is very beautiful. So I think we will continue next time from here, and then right away we have the next argument, and how to step into the aura of the Master, and how to take the initiation, what's the initiation in reality. So the next episode will be about initiation, and it comes after 2 weeks, and still, everyone is welcome to send questions to the Sirio podcast@gmail.com, and your comments also are most welcome. So you're welcome to subscribe to the podcast and give rating and leave a comment under the episodes if you like it, or if there is something particular that you would like to say about that episode. And again, to conclude this episode, we can listen to another beautiful song by Donna Jewel Pollard, again sang by Master Sirio, and the musical arrangement with my friends, with our friends. So, thank you, dear Master, so much, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Master, I am tired. I have carried, I have sired thousands of children, millions of deeds, billions of flowers, trillions of seeds. Over and over, born here to die. Rescue me from me. I have wandered countless years, first through laughter, then through tears, laughing and weeping, wandering and lost, wanting and having, paying the cost. Over and over, that angry bird, rescue me from me. When at last through grace alone you have come, made me your own. Countless wonders laid at my feet, drowning in mercy, still at retreat. Over and over, Father, I've strayed. Rescue me from me. Father, Father, pity me. Break my will that I may see. Thou art the potter, I but the clay. Mold me and make me after the way. As over and over, Father, I pray. Rescue me from me. Father, Father, pity me. Break my will
potter, I but the clay. Mold me and make me after the way, as over and over, Father, I pray. Rescue me from me. Rescue me from me. Rescue me from me. As over and over, Father, I pray. Rescue